one stock will shock everyone. They are a steel producer, aluminum alloys. They compete with a company, a Carpenter, that has Alcoa. I only recently learned about these other companies. Alcoa I had heard of. Alcoa is 20% plus of Carpenter's revenue, and Carpenter is a competitor to Allegheny, ticker symbol ATI. This company, ATI, similar to Carpenter, had solid earnings. So birds of a feather flock together, even if they're competitors. I do think ATI is the best buy right now. I think it will be a good buy going into the rest of this month of November. And I think their contracts with Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and GE are about as, blue chip as it comes for this sector. So let's jump into the chart. Let's jump into the revenue. It was a beat on earnings per share as well as revenue. And let's look at psychological levels as to where to get in. This is not financial advice.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
So this is a little bit about ATI, Allegheny Technologies. They're in Texas, and this is what they do. They do a bunch of different metal derivatives. Castings, forgings. I'm not a metallurgy, blacksmith, or a manufacturing expert of any kind, but I do know that when an earnings candle goes up like this, and then a stock trades sideways after above that close, that's bullish. So not only is it good that the earnings was good, earnings per share was higher than the year over year, and it also beat its estimate, and also revenue increased year over year. It's holding that level. So if you look at its peer, Carpenter, also holding. You can see that more clearly here. This is the close on day one. Tested that level here and then held. So looks pretty good. And if you look at Alcoa, earnings reaction was not super pretty. But basically, if it holds here, basically where it was before earnings, that's probably a good sign, given they're a huge customer for CRS and for ATI. It would be positive to see them hang in there. Now, Steel Dynamics, another one with a positive earnings reaction. Little pullback is sort of expected after a crazy, 6 days in a row of green, kind of like the market, actually. So if we're looking at ATI as far as buy levels, over this 96 is important, and then it sort of matched here where it came down to about 98. So, give or take a couple dollars there, depending on how wide you want your risk to be. Now, if we look at a 5-year chart, this thing is up in the stratosphere. This is an important level if it gets there, 115. But I mean, that's from 2007. So before the Great Recession. So I don't know if that's something you even need to worry about just yet. When it does get up there, if it does, 115, 114, maybe sell half and then, hold the rest for a move up or trail one of these moving averages as they catch up. That's generally the idea on almost all the investments we talk about here. Sell half and trail the rest. Now, as far as Q3 earnings, this is what they actually were. Over $1 billion in revenue, up as mentioned. And then that earnings per share was a beat. And then as far as guidance, this is the range. So it guided higher, or they raised their outlook, but that was, that was actually really recently. So I guess we can trust that, given that it's now released 3 quarters of earnings. So that's good. I mean, I don't think they're going to revise it again. They could. They can revise it at any point, I guess, and just put out a statement. But this is recent, so that's even better than I expected as far as when this guidance came out. What's happening here? Aerospace and defense is basically helping them. I don't know that they need to get Alcoa as a customer. It seems like they're pretty set without that. But it would be great to see that chart turn up. I mean, this is the big 100-pound gorilla in the space, and I mean, it's been channeling for a while. So really, to a 30 and change, if it can stay above there, I think it's still all systems go for steel, which means bullish for ATI. Now, as far as basically, who else they're connected to, these other tickers, Boeing and Lockheed Martin, are just slow, so they're not really investable. I mean, this earnings reaction is not great, but I don't think you necessarily need to see too much stock price appreciation, too much activity in these, too much euphoria. You're not going to, because they move so slowly, but also the connection to them, I think, is weak enough in terms of actual movement of money that it's not going to influence the price of ATI. And the reason I say that is if you look at some of these biotech stocks, ALNY or RYTM, some of the recent runners that have sort of broken out, and then you look at like Pfizer and Merck, like sure, Pfizer had this run, but it gave it right back. And then Merck, is barely moving at all. Novo Nordisk is kind of just drifting down. So I don't think, the huge players in the game necessarily impact, stocks on recent earnings. So ALNY went up on earnings and stayed up. So I think ATI is safe from getting dragged down from the Boeings and the Lockheed Martins of the world, but it also gets that benefit of, the brand names. So they obviously are massive companies that have massive budgets, including GE. And the Department of Defense also is nice to be able to sell to the government. They have unlimited pockets, it seems like. So GE has been going up. GE earnings, kind of a messy reaction, but held up. And, you can't really blame them for that kind of reaction when it looks almost identical to Tesla's. So, and Tesla looks like it's in an awesome spot. It's a little choppy, but it's made this huge run. It was bound to level off for a while. I mean, you can't just make huge runs after huge runs. And when you do, well, this is what happens. It comes back down to earth little by little. So Tesla, side note, 450, pretty important level, and sort of bounced off a little, really bounced off here, it looks like, and holding. So definitely strong. It's hard to see exactly what we got going on here. Maybe 448 is pretty important. At some point, you are doing a little bit of astrology voodoo, drawing these lines. But what's important is you pick a line and you stick with it. You don't just pick it and then say, oh, it'll come back, and then the stock just drifts down, right? Okay, so ATI, if we're going to take that same logic, the level I would pick would be 98. I know I said 96 or 98, but why not pick the one that's a little bit closer than all the way back in July, right? I suppose for Carpenter, as an example, what's the level that actually held? Well, it was actually that close level. It was 300, 302, wherever it closed at, basically bounced off that. So that's not chance. I mean, it wasn't known that it was going to bounce down at this point, but what happens is a bunch of people buy on this day, and then their buys are all spread out here. And so what kind of happens for people who want to continue to work into a position is they use this close as sort of a barometer of like whether the stock's worth buying or not, or whether they can, get in safely without moving the stock up, or if some big position's getting sold off, if they need to unwind their position. This is the level that people look at, and this so happens to be 300, so it's also a whole $100 level. But that's all to say why 98 is the place for ATI, and I guess it did kind of bounce off there already. So 98 or 96. 98 is probably lower risk, literally. As far as what else to do with this company, I mean, you can track these companies, but again, they're going to be like Pfizer and Merck. I don't know how closely to actually take a look on. I don't know about actual contract values for Department of Defense or SpaceX. SpaceX is private. But if any sort of news comes out in general about steel and steel for aerospace or defense, this company is going to be infected. But if that sounds like too much, breaking news type strategy for you, I don't think you even need that. All you really need to do is just watch its peer. If this thing starts to fail, I do think ATI is going to have a rough time too. So that's the plan. Allegheny Technologies. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. And if you want to work with me, you'll get a Q&A. You'll get live streams that answer common questions. You can learn how to filter through these stocks and pick the best one on a given day, rather than just seeing a bunch of ideas. Head over to stocksforme.com and see if that $25 7-day trial is for you. See you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.